Now let's find the square root of the sort below. Number 1, 7 plus 2 root 10. Now the techniques we will use here, which is the normal way. So we say let the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 be root m plus root n. So from here we will square both sides. Square both sides. So that will be square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 square is equal to square root of m plus square root of n square. So in this case, these two will cancel out. So we'll have 7 plus 2 root 10 is equal to root m plus root n. Again, root m plus root n because of this square. So write the bracket twice and multiply. So we have 7 plus 2 root 10 is equals to now root m times root m. So that will be m plus root m times root n, that is root mn, plus root n times root m, that is root mn, plus root n times root n, that is n. Remember, I'm using root m and root n. If you like, you can say root s plus root y. You can use any alphabet you like. So I'm choosing m and n. So this is 7 plus 2 root 10 is equal to m plus n plus 2 root mn, that is m plus n, then 1 root mn plus 1 root mn, that is 2 roots mn. So that means the question is now reduced to this. So from here we'll compare both sides. That means the one without roots will be equals to the one without roots. So m plus n will be equals to 7. So we'll call that one equation 1. Again, 2 root mn will be equals to 2 root 10. 2 root mn is equals to 2 root 10. So here 2 can cancel out. So we can now square both sides. The root mn square equals to root 10 square. So that the roots will cancel out. Then mn is equals to 10. We call this one equation 2. Now we will solve both equation 1 and equation 2 simultaneously. So it's now simultaneous equation. Now let's say from equation 1 we have m plus n is equals to 7. Then m is equals to 7 minus n. So now anywhere you see m in equation 2, put 7 minus n. So we have mn is equals to 10. But we have already seen that m is 7 minus n. So I will have 7 minus n bracket n is equals to 10. So all this is m, 7 minus n. So expand, this will be 7n minus n square is equals to 10. So now rearrange to form quadratic equation. So n square minus 7n plus 10 is equals to 0. So this is minus, take it here to be plus n square. This is plus 7n to be minus. So we form quadratic equation. Now solve the quadratic equation. You can watch my video on quadratic equation for beginner here. So we need to solve using factorization method. So if you don't know quadratic, watch my video. So this will be n square minus 5n minus 2n plus 10 equals 0. I'm not explaining this part. Please check my video on quadratic. I've explained in detail how to solve a quadratic equation. So you can subscribe to the channel to see more of the videos. So we have n square minus 5n then minus 2n minus 10 equals 0. Now n is common here, so we have n minus 5 then minus 2 n minus 5 equals to 0. So now we have n minus 5 n minus 5, so that will be n minus 5 n minus 2 equals 0. So n minus 5 equals 0 or n minus 2 equals 0. So n is equals to 5 or n is equals to 2. Now that we know n, we can find m. So from equation 2, we have seen it that mn is equals to 10. So m is equals to 10 over n. So when n is 5, for n is equals to 5, so m is equals to 10 over 5, so which is 2. For n is equals to 2, m is equals to 10 over 2, which is 5. That means we have found our answer from the simultaneous equation for both m and n. So that means finally m is equals to 2, m equals to 2 and n equals to, so when n is 5, m is 2 and n equals 5, or m equals 5 and n equals 2. When n is 2, m is 5. So this is the one equation we will now use, the answer we will use. Remember, from beginning we have shown that square root of 7 plus 2 root 10, we've said is equals to square root of m plus square root of n. Now that we know that if m is 2, n is 5, let's substitute. This will be square root of 2 plus square root of 5, or we have again 7 plus 2 root 10 equals, if m is 5, n is 2. So if you look at both results here, you will see they are equal. That means the answer now, square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 is equal to square root of 5 plus square root of 2. If you like, you can write square root of 2 first plus square root of 5. Anyhow you write it, it's still the same thing. So this is the answer. So now we have another method Instead of showing this using simultaneous, I can use a formula. Now we derive a formula using the same approach. So that means you can cram this formula and use it. So this is the general formula for this same number 1. Let me write. We have 7 plus 2 roots 10. Now based on the formula I want to use, we will need to know A and we will need to know B. This is the same thing as 7 plus root 2 square times 10. How? So I'm taking this 2 inside, so it becomes 2 square inside the roots. So now this will becomes 7 plus square root of 4 times 10. So this is 7 plus square root of 14. That means 7 plus 2 root 10 is the same thing as 7 plus square root of 40. So based on what I shown here. Now the general formula is square root of, so let me show, we can write this so that I'll clear it. So we have seen it now that 7 plus 2 root 10 is the same thing as 7 plus square root of 40. So now we have a formula. Root A plus root B is equal to plus or minus equals to plus or minus half brackets A, let me write it under so to save space. So square root of this is equals to plus or minus square root of half brackets A plus square root of A square minus B, then plus square root of half A minus square root of A square minus B. So now this is the formula you can use. Instead of showing all those steps, you can use this formula. Now according to our question, we have shown it now. That means A is equals to 7, B is equals to 40. Now substitute it in the bracket. So this will becomes square root of 7 plus 2 root 10. Don't forget is equals to 7 plus root 40, where A is 7 and B is 40. So substitute now. So this will be equals to plus or minus square root of 1 over 2 brackets 7 plus square root of 7 square minus 14, because A is 7, B is 40, as in we are using the formula, then plus square root of 1 over 2 7 minus square root of 7 square minus 14. Close it. So this is plus or minus square root of 1 over 2 bracket 7 plus square root of, now 7 square is 49 then minus 40 plus square root of 1 over 2, then 7 minus square root of 49 minus 14. So this is plus or minus square root of 1 over 2 bracket 7 plus square root of 9, because 49 minus 40 is equals to 9, plus square root of 1 over 2, 7 minus square root of 9. So this is plus or minus square root of 1 over 2, 7 plus 3. Why? Because square root of 9 is 3, plus square root of half, 7 minus 3. So this is plus or minus square root of half bracket 10 plus square root of half bracket 4, as in 7 minus 3, 7 plus 3. So this is plus or minus, now 2 here 1, 2 here 5, so that will be square root of 5 plus square root of 2. 2 here 1, 2 here 2, so like that. Now I will ignore the minus, so I'll take the plus. So that means you will see the final answer now, square root of 5 plus square root of 2. So that means the question, so square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 now is equal to, so take the positive, square root of 5 plus square root of 2, so which is the same as the long procedure. So we can also use another method to solve it, that is using factorization method. So let's do that one also. So you can use any of the method, anyone you like, use it. But if you know the formula often, the formula is easy to master. If you master the formula, it's better. Or use the normal approach. So now I'm solving it with another method. 7 plus 2 root 10. So this is the same thing as 7 plus 2 roots. So we need to split this in terms of, so let me show it so that you can grab what I want to do. So this is 7 plus, now square root of 10 is square root of 10 plus square root of 10. So square root of 10 plus square root of 10 will give us 2 roots 10. And we have seen it that we know that root 5 times root 2 will give us root 10 if you multiply. So root 5 times root 2 will give us root 10. So that means this is the same thing as root 5 plus, so that will be root 5 square, because 5 plus 2 is equals to 7. So I'll split. So that means root 5 plus 2, root 5 square plus root 2 square will give me 7. Then plus 2 root 5 times root 2. So I'll do it this way, because root 10 is equals to root 5 times 2. So which is root 5 times root 2. So now we will need to change this. The techniques I'm using is m square plus m square plus 2mn is equals to m plus n square. So that means if you have m plus n square, you can expand it to be this. So that is the techniques we are trying to use here. So this method, you'll be doing many things often. So I'm just using it to show we can still simplify. So now the next one will be, all this is the same thing as square root of 5 plus square root of 2 square. So now square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 is equals to square root of root 5 plus root 2 square. So that this square will cancel out this. So we have square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 is equal to square root of 5 plus square root of 2. Answer. So you need to know this identity. Your aim is to change it to the form of m square plus n square plus 2mn is equals to m plus n square. So because if you expand, so is this form I change this question. So int is that you have root 10 and 5 times 2 will give you 10. 5 plus 2 will give you 7. So and I know root 5 square will be 5. Root 2 square will be 2, which is 7. Then 2 root 5 to show 2 root mn. So that is it. Now let's see number 2. Now let's see the number 2. We have 14 minus 4 root 6. Now using the normal approach, we will say let the square root of 14 minus 4 root 6, let the square root be equals to root m minus root n. So then square both sides. Square both sides. We have square root of 14 minus 4 root 6 square is equal to square root of m minus square root of n square. So that this square will cancel out these roots. So remember in the first question when this is plus, so we use root m plus. So now that is minus, we will use minus. So this will becomes 14 minus 4 root 6. So expand this twice. Root m minus root n. Again root m minus root n. So 14 minus 4 root 6. Expand root m times root m. That will be m. Again root m times root n. That will be minus root mn. Then root n times root m. We are expanding. That is root mn. Then plus root n times root n. That is n. Because minus times minus is plus. So this is now 14 minus 4 root 6 is equal to m minus n minus 2 root mn. So that will be m plus n, that is m plus n, minus 1 root mn minus 1 root mn is minus 2 roots mn. Compare both sides. Now if you compare both sides, so m plus n will be equals to 14. M plus n will be equals to 14. Therefore, m is equals to 14 minus n. This will be equation 1. Again, minus 2 root mn equals to minus 4 root 6. Minus 2 root mn is equals to minus 4 root 6. So square both sides. So we have minus 2 root mn square equals to minus 4 root 6 square. Now if this square will affect everything here, so minus 2 square will be 4. So that will be 4mn, that is, this will cancel out this, equals to, then minus 4 square, that will be 16, then times 6, because this will cancel out this. So mn, 4mn rather, equals to 16 times 6, so that will give you 96. So mn is equals to 96 divided by 4. Therefore, mn is equals to 24. Now that is equation 2. Now from equation 1, we have seen that m is equals to 14 minus n. So anywhere you see m here, put 14 minus n. So that is substitution method. So this will becomes 14 minus n times n is equals to 24. Now open the bracket. This will be 14n square minus n square is equals to 24. 14n, that is n times 14, then minus n square is equals to 24. So collect like terms to form quadratic. So rearrange to form quadratic. So this will be, so minus n square will go there, becomes plus 14 will go, becomes minus. So that means n square minus 14n plus 24 equals 0. So we have n square. Subscribe to my channel to watch quadratic equation. I've done it in detail. So this will be n square minus 12n minus 2n plus 24 equals 0. I did not explain this quadratic here. Go and watch my video on quadratic, separate video. You will understand how to solve a quadratic equation. So now bracket 2 here. So this will be n square, then minus 2n minus 24 equals 0. So n is common here. That will be n minus 12 minus 2 n minus 12 equals to 0. So we have n minus 12 and another n minus 2 equals 0. That is, this and this are equal. Now for the equation to be true, then either n minus 12 will be 0 or n minus 2 will be 0. So n is equals to 12 or n is equals to 2. So since we know n, we can now find m. From mn is equals to 24. M is equals to 24 divided by n. So now let's substitute. You can always pause the video and copy this before I delete it. So for n is equals to 12, for n is 12, m is equals to 24 over n. That will be 24 over 12, which is equals to 2. And for n is equals to 2, m is equals to 24 over 2, which is 12. So finally, we have known that m is equals to, when m is equals to 2, n is equals to 12, or when m is equals to 12, n is equals to 2. So finally, we have square root of 14 minus 4 root 6 is equal to square root of m, that is, remember I said the square root of m minus square root of n. So that will be square root of 2 minus square root of 12. So this will be square root of 2 minus, now square root of 12, you can split it. So that will be 4 times 3, which is 2 roots 3. So that will be minus 2 roots 3. So if you have this now, this will give you negative results. So you can ignore negative result as square roots. Yeah, cannot give you negative. So you need to pick the other one. So, or square root of 14 minus 4 root 6 is equals to root 12, that is when m is 12, minus root 2. So root 12 is 4 times 3, then minus root 2. 4 times 3 is 12. So square root of 4 is 2. Is the one we have outside. Then that will be 2 root 3 minus root 2. So that is the answer. So that is the answer. That means square root of 14 minus 4 root 6 is equals to 2 root 3 minus root 2. Now let me use the formula method. So let me use the formula method. So just like the way I use the formula for plus, so the same formula is what we will use, but the middle number we only say, the middle sign will change to minus. So that is, let me first turn this to the form. So 14 minus 4 root 6 is the same thing as 14 minus square root of, so this one will go inside the root and becomes 14 square, and becomes 4 square times 6. So this is 14 minus square root of 16 times 6. So that means 14 minus 4 root 6 is equal to 14 minus square root of 96. So this is the one we will use now. So the formula is square root of a minus root b is equal to plus or minus square root of half into bracket a plus square root of a square minus b, then minus square root of half into a minus a square minus b, like that. So in this case, we have shown here that a equals to 14, b equals to 96. So you can now substitute everything inside the formula. So this will become square root of 14 minus 4 root 6. So will be equals to plus or minus square root of half into a is 14 as shown. So this will be 14 plus square root of 14 square minus 96, that is b is 96, minus square root of half into 14 minus 14 square minus 96. So this is the same thing as plus or minus square root of half into 14 plus square root of, so what is 14 square? So that will be 196 minus 96 square root of 14 minus 196 minus 96. So this will become plus or minus square root of half 14 plus square root of 100 minus square root of half into 14 minus square root of 100, because 196 minus 96 is 100. So this is plus or minus square root of half into 14 plus 10. Why? Because square root of 100 is 10, minus square root of half 14 minus 10. So this is plus or minus square root of half square root of half times 24 minus square root of half bracket 4, because 14 minus 10 is 4, 14 plus 10 is 24. So this will become plus or minus square root of 2n1 2n12 minus square root of 2n1 2n2. So which is plus or minus square root of 12 can be 4 times 3 in simplest form, minus root 2. So that will be plus or minus square root of 4 is 2. That will be 2 root 3 minus root 2. So I will need to ignore the minus, so I pick the plus. So this will be equals to 2 root 3 minus root 2. So which is the same answer as the first one, as the first method. So that means this is equals to 2 root 3 minus root 2. Answer. So this is the answer. So the same results as the long method. Now if you want to use the factorization method, Let me just use it. Now we have 14 minus 4 root 6. The technique here is m square plus n square minus 2mn is m minus n everything square. So now we already know that 14 can be, we can split the two number. Remember we have root 4 root 6 can be 7 times 2 is 14. So can have this 4 root 6 here is the one that will determine what I will do, because I need to get the m and n is the one I will square here as m square and n square. So that means to do that, 4 root 6 is the same thing as 2 root 3 times root 2. So if I have this 2 root 3 times root 2, then times 2, so that 2 times 2 will be 4. So that will be like 4 root 3 times root 2. You know it will be root 4 root 6, which is 2 root 3 times root 2. So it's this one that will now determine. That means my m is 2 root 3 and n is root 2. So that's the technique. So that means in this case, m is equal to 2 root 3 and n is equal to root 2. So meaning this is the same thing as 2 root 3 square, 2 root 3 square plus root 2 square minus 2 root 3 times root 2. So that is like m square plus n square minus 2mn. So like this equals to m minus n square. So this is the same thing as 2 root 3 minus root 2 square. So square root of 14 minus 4 root 6 is now equal to square root of